The day is finally coming. My book called Feminine Warrior is going to be on bookshelves November 6th. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you have any idea how exciting this is for me. I bet you do though. You can probably hear it in my voice. Before November comes along, I have something special that I want to invite you to. I am hosting a completely free virtual book cover reveal party on September 21st at 8 p.m. Pacific. If you're not able to make it at 8 p.m., there will be a replay link available, but this virtual book cover reveal party is going to be so much freaking fun. I'm going to invite you to grab a glass of bubbly, to come and meet with a bunch of other incredible women while we connect into the essence of what this book is truly about, what it means to live and breathe as a feminine warrior, as an empowered woman, as a modern day feminist choosing the life that we desire to live. I'm going to be bringing all of that energy with me, and I'm going to be reading a few excerpts from the book as well. This is a free event. I would absolutely love if you would join us, and the link to join is going to be in the show notes of this episode. So go click that link, register that you're coming, and let me know on Instagram or Facebook that you're all registered so I can get super excited about us spending the night together. Again, that's my virtual book cover reveal party is September 21st at 8 p.m. Pacific. Ooh, I cannot wait. Hello and welcome to the Empowered Podcast. My name is Deanna, Deacon. As per usual, you know that I'm so grateful that you're here. It's just such a pleasure to spend this time together. It is currently a Tuesday morning. It's September 1st, which is super exciting, which means there's fun things happening here on the Empowered Podcast that you get to interact with. And it's kind of like a gray, drizzly, cold day, which where I live is really common, that as soon as kind of the end of August hits, the days start to transition right into fall. And it's something that has been really challenging for me in the past because I grew up on the coast. And if you live in a coastal region, you know that the seasons kind of linger a bit longer. The ocean air really helps to just neutralize the temperature so you don't get as many extremes. And I've been here for 6 years, and every fall I struggle with it a bit. And I promise there's a reason that I'm sharing this with you this morning, because as we come into this new theme for September, our theme is duality. And duality is, it's such a massive topic. And I have some really incredible guests that I'm going to be bringing into the podcast to share with you their views, their teachings, their wisdom around what duality truly is. But the way I want to speak about it with you today is about nature. Because when I think of duality and when I'm finding that I'm getting myself so caught up in seeing things in one linear direction, it has to be this way. This is how life needs to happen. Case in point, fall needs to come in October, November instead of at the end of August. That's when we create discontentment and discomfort and dis-ease within ourselves because we're expecting something different than what is. So when it comes to duality, and hang on. Okay, well, let's take a deep breath. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I'm excited about this topic because we can go so deep with it. But for those of you who are new to what duality even is, let's just dissect that for a second. Duality is ultimately just looking at two sides of something. That there is more than one view, there is more than one side, there's more than one opportunity to see what's possible. And a lot of times, our culture and society here in the Western world, we are very linear and we are very one direction focused. And you've heard me talk about this so many times through the lens of masculine energy and the patriarchy and our drive for success in a really specific way. But what duality really brings to us is this understanding, and nature is this understanding that there is no one way. Nothing is stagnant. Nothing on this earth, nothing in this world stays still. That is consciousness. Consciousness stays still. But here on this earth, with the grass and the trees and the leaves and the animals and the birth and the death and the day and the night, this is what duality truly is. And when we start playing with this awareness, playing with the duality, we can see that even in a situation where maybe we don't like the outcome of something, we can actually look at the other side of it. Or an example of if you get in an argument with a friend of yours or a family member, you see your side of it, of course. But coming into a lens of duality is acknowledging that they also have a side too, and that there's also an overarching side to that where both of you are a part of it. It's about opening your perspective to seeing what else is there, what else is possible. Now, again, I've said a couple times that you can go very deep into duality, and if you go into yogic studies, ancient philosophies, tantric yoga, all of these concepts pull on this idea of duality, and this has been around for centuries. And the ancient yogis understood this concept of duality, and that's where I started tapping into it when I did my 200-hour yoga teacher training. And since then, it's just been so much fun to explore. So let's bring it back to nature for a second. I was listening to a really amazing Facebook Live by a woman named Joy Kingsborough. If you haven't followed her, you should go follow her. She's incredible. She has so much wisdom within her. She channels this spirit called Jonah, and she's done her work, you guys. So go hang out with Joy. She's amazing. I'll make sure that I put a link to the video that I'm referencing in the show notes of this episode. But what she was talking about in this video was the universal law of rhythm. And it really got me thinking. And I wrote out a few things that I wanted to share with you. These are just sort of my musings and my thoughts. So I'm going to read them to you for a moment and just take a few breaths and receive from me these words and allow them to land in you however they're meant to. No striving for anything to be specific. Just receive what you're meant to today. As humans, we cling to what we know. It's our attempt at controlling our environment and our life. But that means that we're only focusing on what we know. There's no room for the wisdom and the magic of nature to actually take over when we're in an attempt to control everything in our life. We like to adjust the temperature of our house to be the same every day, in the winter and in the summer. We buy summer fruits and then freeze them so that in the very cold darkness of winter, we can have those summer fruits. We avoid going to new places or meeting new people so we can control our social environment and ensure that we feel safe. This is our way of trying to take control or be in charge of our life. This is what we do as humans. Nature doesn't do this. Nature is in this constant rhythm of flow with everything that is. Nature never tries to control the environment or to control the weather. As humans, if we could, we would, myself included. If I could control that I'm going to have 5 out of 7 days a week be pure sunshine, I would do that. That's a part of our human nature. So listen to this. But when we do this, when we try to control and take charge of everything in our life, we miss out on the beauty of duality in the world. We live on a planet that has 2 poles, north and south. And this causes an electromagnetic field in and all around our entire planet, including all beings that are on it. These poles create a polarity, and that fuels constant dynamic movement between them, between north and south poles. So there's this constant dance, this constant flow of energy that is happening on the earth at all times. This is what creates life. This is what creates change and growth. Our own bodies have our own inner polarity. And this polarity is in alignment with the polarity of the earth. This is how we are a part of Mother Earth. We come from the earth. We are the earth. And when it comes to being in rhythm with nature, or even just being in rhythm with life, we want to align our rhythm with the natural rhythm of the earth, because that's our mama. That's our mama Gaia. She holds us. She holds that frequency that we are designed to be in alignment with. We are designed to be in a constant, ever-changing, dynamic, evolutionary growth at all times. In our bodies, there's something called homeostasis, and that's where all parts of our body are constantly trying to bring us back into a neutral balance. So it's always trying to find its way back into balance where everything is in harmony. That being said, it is in constant dynamic movement trying to create this harmony. So it's not like we achieve harmony and we stay there. That's not what it's about. And I think that's where we get lost in our minds about life is, I need to achieve this success and then I just float there. I need to achieve a sense of peace and then I just stay there. I need to achieve a sense of happiness and I'll just hang out there for the rest of my life. It's not possible. It's not who we are. It's not what we're designed for. And so when we strive for that and then achieve that and then fail because we don't consistently stay in that place all the time, that's where we bring in emotions like fear and guilt and frustration and anger and aggravation, because we're annoyed that we can't do what we've set out to do. But what we've set out to do isn't possible. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see how in our minds we get ourselves so wrapped up in what we need to be doing or experiencing or living as? And it's very linear. It's one direction focused. It's not taking into account the duality and the rhythm of life. So when it comes to our own happiness and joy, let's take that as an example. If something that you are seeking in your life right now is a deeper sense of fulfillment, a more consistent sense of joy, happiness, peace in your life, if you're just tired of feeling mundane and frustrated and annoyed with your family members, with your work, whatever it is, let's just say you are calling in more joy and peace. If there's any part of you that believes that once you achieve that, everything will be perfect, I want you to just shake your body right now. Just shake it off. No. Let it go. That belief is going to haunt you. It's not possible to get to one state of being and stay there forever. It's not, then there's no constant dynamic evolution. You're not constantly changing and growing and shifting. You're not in rhythm with nature, which is what we're designed to be and to do. So if you have that belief, really start paying attention to where that belief is causing you harm, because it's causing you to believe that everything you have now is wrong and everything you desire, once you have that, everything will be right. And it's not true. Everything you have right now is right. Even if it hurts, even if you're in pain, even if you're sad, even if you're not happy, it's here to help guide you to what brings in more joy. That's the duality. Just like I said, in nature, we have day and night. There's sun and moon. It's the same within us. When we're in pain, it helps us understand what it feels like to be in joy. When we're sad and grieving, it helps us understand what it means and what it feels like to be love. It's important for us to really witness, experience, and be a part of this duality to fully express and expand who we are. Have you ever set a goal for yourself and you achieve it? Like, let's say maybe it's a financial goal. You want to hit a certain amount of income per year or per month, or maybe you want to buy a brand new car, or maybe you want to accomplish something specific financially. And then you achieve it and it feels good for like a day, maybe a couple hours, maybe a couple days. And then immediately after, you're looking at, what am I going to do now? What am I moving towards? What am I focusing on? That's because it's not the achievement of the goal that makes you happy. It's the constant dynamic evolving and changing that occurs within you that allows you to find that fulfillment. And that's why I think it's important that we set goals. I think it's really important that we have future visions and that we're constantly moving ourselves forward consciously, intentionally, but that we're not attached to the outcome. That we don't see that goal as the end all be all. We don't believe that that goal will bring us our happiness. We experience happiness on our way towards witnessing or achieving or experiencing that thing. I hope that makes sense for you. If it doesn't, send me a message afterwards, after this episode, and let's riff on this a little bit more, because this is really important. I grew up believing that if I got straight A's in school, that I would be loved and happy. And that if I excelled in sports, that I would be loved and get attention. And that if I got a great career job, I would be loved by my family and supported by everyone around me. But that's not what I wanted. I didn't want those things. That's not what made me happy. And so even though I did achieve them and I got the love that I wanted, or that I thought I wanted, it didn't bring fulfillment to me. And I know a lot of you listening can relate to this, maybe not in the same context, but you can relate to that idea of, it's like you have everything that you've ever wanted and you're not happy and you don't feel fulfilled. Or even though you know you're surrounded by love, it's like you can't feel it. It's like it's not coming into your body and you don't understand why. Take this concept of duality seriously. Start looking at the beauty and the magic of the duality. Notice even, a really incredible movie for this. And actually, this came up in a Reiki session recently with a client. It felt so bizarre, but I always just go with whatever comes up in a Reiki session because I know that it's just healing energy and it's intuition. But I was instructed to guide her to watch The Lion King. And she has young kids, so of course she's seen it so many times. But the instruction was for her to watch it because there's a message in there for her from this more expanded spiritual place that she's in now than she has been before. And right now, I am guiding you, suggesting that you also watch The Lion King and notice like that concept of the circle of life. That is a beautiful depiction of duality. When an animal passes, their soul returns back home and their body disintegrates into the earth. Animals eat the body in order to fuel them, or the rest of their body goes into the earth to create grass that then other animals eat. And this is how we are, this beautiful circle of life. And us human beings are a part of that. We just constantly are trying to remove ourselves from it. We're constantly trying to control the environment of our household or control the situations that we're in for fear of this duality, for fear that something's going to make us unhappy or upset us. But the craziest thing, you guys, this is what I witness all the time. It blows my mind. We're terrified of how unhappy we might be if we're in a situation we don't enjoy, like, for example, a social setting or situation. So we're terrified of what might happen if we do the thing. But we're also almost always unhappy without doing the thing. It's like we're sitting in our own known agony, but we're too afraid to go into unknown agony. And when you look at that, like, you're just sitting in agony. I hope this is making sense to you guys. I feel like in my head, I'm floating around a little bit. So I'll try to anchor it in for you. But when we hold ourselves back from doing something for fear of the unknown, we're actually limiting our ability to expand who we are, expand in our consciousness and our awareness in this moment because we're limiting ourselves. So that fear of the unknown is actually hindering us right now in this moment without even taking any action. So whether or not you take the action, you're stepping into some form of discontentment. So if you feel drawn to take an action, but you're a bit fearful, do the thing. Just do the thing. That's why having deep inner trust is so important. That's why being guided and learning how to be guided by your intuition is so important. That's why, that's why this work, this personal empowerment work is vital. Because life is this incredible experience of duality. There are highs and there are lows. There are joys and there are sadness. There's day and there's night. There's winter, there's summer. There's birth and there's death. And this is a part of the earth and the world that we live in. And you cannot hide from it. You cannot shy away from it. It doesn't bring you joy to do so. Stop trying to hide. Trust that you can handle anything that comes your way. That relationship you're in that you don't want to be in anymore, you can handle it by stepping away. You can trust yourself to make it through. You are surrounded by support. You are surrounded by love. Even when you can't see it, it's there. That risk that you want to take by starting your business or going out on your own or changing your career or moving cities or communities, trust your own inner guidance. Trust your intuition. Trust your body and your wisdom and your knowledge to guide you through it. Trust that no matter what happens, you're not doing anything wrong. You are on your journey to evolution. You are on your journey to expansion. You are on your journey to deeper awareness and consciousness. That's what you're doing. And sometimes that looks like making interesting choices in life. Sometimes that looks like turning your back on long-term relationships that are no longer serving you. Sometimes that looks like taking risks, stepping out in fear, going against the grain of your entire family. And I get that it's scary. Trust me, I've been doing this for a long time and it is uncomfortable, but that doesn't mean you can't do it. And the level of like full body embodiment of bliss that you feel when you step outside what your known comfort zone is and you take a risk or you take a chance on yourself and you show up for you, oh my God, the amount of bliss that you can embody when you do something like that, when you challenge yourself outside of where you would normally be, oh my goodness, like It will blow your mind. And it is something that you will then strive for because it feels so good to know that you've got you. To know that you've got you. Ultimately, that's all that matters. At the end of the day, you've got you. You have to trust in that. Every time you turn to your partner or your friends or your community or your coworkers or anyone else in your life to guide you, to tell you what's right, to tell you what you need to do, you're taking your power away from yourself. That's why I love the industry of coaching, because if you're working with a good coach, they're not going to tell you what to do. They're going to hold the space. They're going to ask you the questions. They're going to get you to get clear on what it is that you are meant to do, because you already know. You already know. And when it comes to those of you who are mamas, of course, I know you are there to protect and to serve and to take care of your babies. But think about how much more powerful you can be for them when you can trust in yourself, when you know that you've got you, when you're pouring as much energy that you pour into them into yourself as well, when you feel whole and complete and fulfilled and know that you can find your joy from within. Just think about how much more that will impact your children. How much more important is it for mama to be fulfilled and joyful and happy than it is for them to have new crafts to do every week? How much more important do you believe it is for mama to have her own personal empowerment and for her children to witness that in her than for them to have the most wholesome, healthy meals ever? If you're making a choice, I want you to choose you, because it's not the actions that you take, it's not the words that you say that are going to impact their life the most. It's who you choose to be. And when you be the woman who chooses life, who chooses love, who chooses peace, who chooses bliss, who chooses to live in this incredible aspect of duality, who isn't afraid of her emotions, who isn't afraid to show that she is human, that she has the feels, that she fluctuates between high days and low days, think about the impact that will have on your children. Because your kids are going to grow up one day and they're going to go through challenges and they're going to be scared and they're going to be unsure and they're going to question themselves. And they're going to remember how you handled those types of situations for yourself. They'll remember that more than they'll remember the dinner you made. They'll remember that more than they remember you taking photos of them on their first day of school. They will remember the woman that you chose to be. And that will influence and impact them so much more than anything you said or did. So I want you to really take that into your heart. And even those of you who don't have children, this goes the same for those in your life who are witnessing you and observing you in your everyday life. If we can all choose to be willing to flow with the rhythm of nature, with the rhythm of life, with the rhythm of our heart, with this beautiful polarity that we live with this duality of high and low, night and day, and trust that all is exactly as it's meant to be. Trust that there is divine guidance and divine order in everything that is occurring, and that you are being intuitively guided at all days, and that you can trust yourself. Can you even imagine what this world would look like? What it would feel like? I can. I can imagine it. And it's strong. It's beautiful. It's expansive. It's fun. There's so much fun. Yeah. That's the world that I'm calling in. That's the reality that I'm choosing to create for myself and everyone that I surround myself with. Every being that I come into contact with, I'm holding that vision of them and their higher self, of them and their fully expressed self, as much as is possible to this point, honoring where they are right now and holding them to that higher place as well. I'm doing that for you as well. You, me, everyone else. This is how we create change. This is how we rise. Oh, this is how we rise. Okay. I'm going to leave off there. So as I mentioned, there's some really incredible interviews that are coming up. Not really interviews, more conversations that will be coming up this month in the Empowered podcast. And there's also a really amazing challenge happening where you get to enter to win a one-on-one 60-minute coaching session with me, where you get me, all of me, for an entire 60 minutes to dive deep into you, what's going on in your life, what you're looking to create, what's standing in your way, what's happening in your relationships, what are you being intuitively guided to do, but you're feeling a bit fearful about. I'm here for you in that way. So if you want to find out how to enter to win, just go and check out all the details in the show notes. It's there. And oh, one more thing. I hope you know, if you don't know, if you're not in the Empowered Woman Collective on Facebook, or if you're not following me on Instagram at Deanna Deacon Coaching, then you might not know. On September 21st at 8 p.m. Pacific, I'm hosting a virtual book cover reveal party, which is going to be really, really amazing. It's going to be an incredible evening of women coming together through breath and meditation and expansion, tapping into the energy of what the book is about. The book is called Feminine Warrior, my book, my very first book. And I'm going to be reading a few little excerpts from it, as well as sharing with you, revealing the incredible cover that has been a true collaboration between myself, one of my favorite incredible friends who is just an amazing photographer, as well as my intuitive graphic designer, who is also just a dear soul sister of mine, as well as my publisher and a little bit with my editor. It's been a really powerful process of bringing it together. So I'm super, super excited to share that with you. So if you want details of that, I'll make sure that's in the show notes as well. It'll be a link to probably an Eventbrite page so that you can register. It's for free, but it's really fun when I know who's coming, so I can really hold that space for all of your beautiful souls to join me. So that's September 21st at 8 p.m. Pacific. Okay. I love you. Thank you for being here. I would love to know your thoughts on this concept of duality. I would love to know what came up for you. I'd love to know what you want to riff on and explore more. And as I mentioned, hang out this month because there's going to be some really amazing, deep conversations that I think you're going to love. I'll talk to you soon.